Well, let's talk about the censorship because we see a lot of governments trying to censor or at least threatening to censor. We see our centralized financial institutions also trying to restrict us. I got a text message from NatWest a few days ago saying that to protect my money, right? I never realized that they cared so much about me and my money. They're not allowing me to do credit or debit card transactions with Binance here. And people are getting these all around the world. All of my students are. And we're seeing a lot of these institutions coming in to protect us from what's happening out there. In your mind, can they be successful? Will they be successful? Do we need to watch them? Or in your mind, is this unstoppable?
I think it's unstoppable in the long run, but we want these amazing technologies as quickly as possible because they can certainly be delayed. What if they delay all this from happening for another 100 years or 1,000 years? That would be horrible, right? We want it now. We want the best things available for every human being on the planet as quickly as we possibly can have it. And to the extent that governments are delaying it with their crazy lockdowns, their crazy economic controls, or their censorship of new ideas, that's horrible for all of humankind, right? It's not good for anybody. So it's really a big, important thing for us to get out there and speak out against the censorship, to speak out against the control of people's own money and what they're able to do with it. This is a life and death matter for people around the world because more economic freedom leads to more economic growth. More economic growth leads to a higher standard of living. A higher standard of living leads to people living longer, healthier, happier lives. That's what we want for everybody. And cryptocurrencies are the best tool the world has ever had to build that world for us to all live in together.
Yeah, I think people really need to understand what's going on with their centralized financial institutions. I worked in banking for 15 years. I worked in Wall Street. I worked in Chicago. I worked here in the city of London. And I saw what happened behind the scenes. It's an oligopoly of groups that basically control every moment of your life. Almost every moment of your life is a financial transaction. And you've been educated your whole life that you're not smart enough to manage your money, right? That goes to the bankers. That goes to the fund managers. And giving you actually control, responsibility of your money, it's counterintuitive to this narrative that's one of the greatest rackets in human history. And these banks extract, I would say, between 10 and 20% of people's entire net worth per year through all of these different transactions, fees, restrictions of where they funnel that money in. And so I'm trying to really educate people and try to wreck them on both sides. First of all, the mindset. Robert Kiyosaki talks about it all the time. Poor people work for money. Rich people make money work for them. So we have that whole block. And then on top of that, we think these banks are always looking out for us. It's the only way to do it, right? The payment that takes 3 days to transfer money around the world, that's still normal for most people. And then lastly, I'll say the innovation. When I was at Bankers Trust in New York City, we were working on these incredible new technology, but it was me and maybe 20 other global banks. Now with DeFi, we've got potentially 20,000 groups of people with this innovation, and you don't have this restricted wall where we try to take all the profits. So I think it's important for people to realize that these banks, these beautiful things that with the marble, lobbies and the things we always think are these ex-institutions, I think they're holding on for dear life right now to try to get us to stop going in to these DeFi protocols. Have you seen anything that is made your alarm bells go up when it comes to statements banks have made or even governments when it comes to, we're staying away from crypto or we're getting into crypto?
Yeah, but this has been going on for a long time. So in 2011, my company, MemoryDealers.com, became the first established business in the world to start accepting Bitcoin for payments. But again, this was 2011. Nobody was really using Bitcoin for payments yet, but we put out a billboard and started doing national radio ads on more than 100 radio stations across the US saying, we accept Bitcoin for payment at MemoryDealers.com. And what was the response? Bank of America, that I had been with for 15 years at that point, I had all my personal and business accounts with them. They closed every single one of my accounts, even though not a single customer actually had paid us in Bitcoin, simply for the fact that we were advertising that we were willing to accept payment in Bitcoin. They closed all of my accounts. And so this was in 2011. And then later in 2012, to help spread Bitcoin adoption as money for the world, I was selling physical Bitcoins. They were called Casasius physical Bitcoins. They were about the size of a quarter, and they had a hologram on them. And under the hologram was a private key. And so these coins either had 1, 10, 25, or even 100 Bitcoins on them. And I was selling these physical coins, accepting PayPal for payments. And we were shipping them via FedEx with a tracking number. And these were physical coins that had Bitcoin, private keys in them. we were sending in the mail. And then PayPal sent us an email saying, hey, we see you're selling virtual currency for PayPal. You're not allowed to do that. And I emailed them back and said, well, actually, we're selling physical coins. We're shipping in the mail with FedEx. Like, if that's a problem, like, let me know and we'll talk about it. And rather than replying at all, they just closed my account and banned me from PayPal. So I got banned from Bank of America for accepting Bitcoins for payments. And then 2012, PayPal banned me for selling physical Bitcoins for PayPal. So this has been going on and on and on. And even just this very recently, another bank that thankfully they didn't close my account, so I don't want to upset them too much, so I won't name which bank, but I have some Grayscale shares traded on the public stock exchange. They're going to be unlocked here in another couple of weeks that I want to be able to sell. And they said, oh, we're not even accepting custody of stock for cryptocurrency related stocks. It's just so crazy, the amount of pushback from the legacy financial system. But if you look at it, it's kind of like the traditional taxis in France wanting to ban Uber. Uber gives people such a better experience that everyone wants to use Uber. Why would you use a normal taxi? Yet they then lobby the politicians and lobby the political class to go and ban people from being able to use something that makes their life better. Cryptocurrency makes people's lives better, yet the traditional financial system and traditional nation states are, for the most part, hindering and blocking and delaying the adoption of this better technology. That's a shame for the entire world, and hopefully we can push through that and make it accessible to everybody all over the planet as quickly as possible. But you're not going to do that with a high-fee cryptocurrency that you can't really transact with directly yourself. So that's why I'm a fan of things other than Bitcoin. I think today people should be embarrassed to promote Bitcoin as anything along the lines of a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It just plain doesn't work. And I know as somebody who was trying to use it for payments for the last decade.